All right, so I need something like a quick fix that I could use from an expert healer. What do you got?
Super easy. It's taking time to take a deep breath, focus your thoughts, eye on the prize, and letting go all the fear, stress, worry, anxiety, because it's not going to get us anywhere.
That's simple. Deep breaths.
Simple. Huge deep breath.
Welcome back to Spartan Up Podcast in lush and rainforesty Pittsfield, Vermont. On my right, I have the wonderful Dr. Johnny, Joe Sena, and Mr. Colonel Nye. You probably don't say Mr. And Miss Marion, Madam Marion. Anyways,
it's a whole different podcast.
In this interview, I'm really honored because then I'd like to honor the cosmos. Aiden Chase, Psychic to the Stars. Now, this is something I fully believe in, and I'm interested to see if my fellow pod mates, I don't know what to call it, also agree with this. So let's go find out what Mr. Aiden Chase has to say.
Yeah, Aiden, I just want to mention Aiden deals with professional athletes, billionaires, normal people, and said he has something that can help.
Billionaires aren't normal people?
No, billionaires are not normal people.
Oh.
Most billionaires are unhappy.
Most billionaires
are unhappy.
Pretty chill.
But most of them are rich.
I like everyone. Let's see what Aiden has to say.
Let's see what Aiden has to say.
Okay.
Perfect.
We are here in LA. Traffic is terrible at Spartan Up the Podcast with Aiden Chase, a healer.
Yes. Hey, Joe. Nice to see you.
Nice to see you. What's a healer?
A healer to me is really about tuning in to your own well-being. And there's all sorts of different forms of healing from all over the planet. There's, in Japan, the first healing modality that's been talked about here in the United States is really Reiki, and that's their ancient version of healing.
Japan's ancient version of healing.
Exactly,
Reiki.
And it goes up to today. Every culture around the world has their own version of healing. Since the beginning of people, before there were doctors, before there were therapists, there was always someone in the town, in the village, who could connect to information, to bring through guidance, could have had herbs or had ideas on how to make people better.
Garlic around the neck.
Or garlic around the neck too, absolutely. These are ancient tools and techniques which people used before technology. And really in the last 100 years, healing's been forgotten in a lot of ways because of the industrial
We never had anything in the U.S. though, did we?
No, we always did. There's Native American healing.
Right,
There's always the cultures. People, melting pot of the United States is people brought their own beliefs, their own traditions, and since technology came, people forgot it for a while. But really in the last 15 years, really since the beginning of the hippie time, they brought it back in some ways. And now it's become very mainstream, where people know that there's more than just a doctor or a therapist or talking it out. There's a spiritual component that's different from religion, where we can tune into our own wishes and dreams, our own intentions, and create transformation in them and manifest and bring new things to us.
And so your list of clients is a broad list?
Yeah, I have everything from the average person, or as I say, the person here in Los Angeles, because I work with a lot of Hollywood people, is the person straight off the bus that wants to be a star, to the mega billionaire, to the Academy Award winner, and professional athletes, and everybody in between. But my biggest clients are CEOs from around the world that know that success is more than luck, it's more than hard work, that there's an energy surrounding it, a magic surrounding it, and they know that it takes more. And to maintain it and to sustain and to keep going, they know that it takes an energy and it takes a tuning into their own wishes and dreams, their own intentions from within themselves, and to get your own guidance from within to move forward.
So there's a physical component, right? Being healthy.
Sure,
right? Physically,
yeah. So it's mind, body,
and
and spirit, I like to say. That's a combination together of all.
And so where would you say your strength is?
Oh, all of it. I think the ultimate for humans is to have the perfect integration, or the healthy or holistic integration of the mind, the body, and the spirit.
But you, in particular, are you guiding them? You're not taking them into a gym or helping them run marathons.
No. It's fully energy. It's all intuition.
Right.
It's my psychic abilities. I'm clairvoyant. I'm clairaudient and clairsentient. And clairvoyant is about seeing a vision for your future. And you have the same abilities as I do. I just do it all day long. I might have a natural propensity, kind of like maybe a mutated DNA, or just like someone can play basketball naturally better or play a piano naturally better. I just have a natural propensity for healing. So I can bring through guidance, intuition, roadmaps and plans for people to make their lives better.
I've
more
got
successful.
just before I met you, I got some emails that are kind of a pain in the neck in the business. I love your help in telling me how they're going to be worked out by later.
Well,
because
you never know. But it's an integration of everybody. You know, everybody needs to clear their blocks that might be limiting. It's usually based in fear. I always say the final frontier here, especially in the United States, but mainly in the world, it's fear. You know, we've gone to the moon, we've done everything, and really it's about releasing our fears that are limiting us from being our best selves.
Explain that more. So somebody looks at Spartan Race, for example, which is transformational.
Absolutely.
And we could talk about why. And the biggest limiting factor as to why they don't make it, I think, is because they're afraid.
Exactly.
Right?
I think that's for everyone and everything, whether they're going
not
to
going to start my own business, not going to do whatever in life.
Or I'm not going to succeed, or I can't maintain it.
Right.
Yeah.
And so how do you fix that?
Well, it's interesting. I do work with a lot of celebrities, a lot of Academy Award types and billionaires and all those things. And they all say the same thing. It takes a commitment to yourself. It takes a commitment to your belief structure. And it's about doing the work of knowing what is limiting you, figuring it out, dissecting it, and really clearing it away, getting rid of it, allowing it, bearing it, for moving forward from it.
So I interviewed this Olympic wrestler, and he said he would go out on the mat, very high level competitions, and if he had a negative thought, or let's say had a bad component of that match, he would visualize taking the paper, crumbling it up, throwing it in the fire,
and releasing it. Because that's the key. Because if we hold that energy, if we hold that energy, that vibration, we naturally attract what we're thinking or feeling automatically. It's quantum physics says where intention goes, energy flows, and it's a vibrational process. It's like a magnet. So if you're like, this isn't going to work, then you're going to attract people, experiences, and situations that fulfill that. So it's about deleting those things out the best we can. And it's really about the word spelling. The word spelling, the root of that word is spell. That's the original root of the word, which means whatever we put out in words, we attract to us. So we have to be very careful what words we choose. I can't, I won't, versus I know it's going to happen, or everything's aligning for it to happen. I see the vision of that. What I tell people
it is amazing, right? Just say it over and over and it happens.
Well, it becomes part of you, but it's more than just the mind. It's about your energy systems, which is a vibrational process. And so if it's within our energy systems, our mind, body, and spirit, then everything goes forward more easily. And that's something I work with professional athletes all the time. And it's more than the muscle skills. It's more than the practice. It's more than just the mind. It's the integration and also your belief structure or whatever bad happened in the past, mind, body, and spirit. We got to let that go so we can move forward so you can be the full fulfillment of that intention.
And do you see results with athletes?
Every time. It's because when they know that they're okay and they don't have to be afraid, then anything is possible. Infinite is possible.
And are you seeing a change now that it's 2014, 2015, where people are accepting this more? Were you considered a freak 10, 15 years?
I've never. But I only attract people who are accepting because that's my expectation. And so I've never had any kind of persecution they don't show up. The people who want to move forward in their life, the really bottom line of what I do is I help leaders become better leaders, whether you're the average person or you're the billionaire trying to change the world in some ways. And it's about helping people to lead within their own lives for themselves, but also be a leader for the world in some way.
I probably am going off track here when I say this, but I saw a study recently where many, many billionaires are actually unhappy.
Right, because they're afraid of losing what they have.
That's what it is.
That's what it is. It's the bottom line. Because, again, they knew it took a special something to get there. They knew it was more than their hard work. We have to do all the parts. We have to hard work. We have to get lucky. We have to meet the right people. We have to do the work. But it's the fear of not maintaining it or losing it. There's a very huge producer out here in Los Angeles. That's super wealthy, made every movie possible, every wish and dream, and now he sits at home worrying that he's going to lose it all. And it's counterproductive, it's counterintuitive, and everybody who's maybe someone who's not made it yet wants to be that. Here's the other part that you'll love. If you go to a party here in Los Angeles, and it could be up in the hills in a big mansion, there'll be a billionaire there, and there'll be someone who was invited that maybe is a waiter. And that's the beauty of Los Angeles, there's no judgment, so everybody comes together, right? And the billionaire will be fascinated to talk to the waiter.
The up-and-comer.
The up-and-comer, because he wants to know, where are you? How's it going? What is it like? Because he was there at one point, or she was there. But then the waiter wants to hear from the billionaire. So there's this wonderful synergy, but there's a wonderful support in it, because the billionaire knows, wow, that's where I was.
Came from.
And there's a difference if you were born with wealth is very different, but most people are trying to get, 99% of the population are trying to get somewhere. And it's not just money, it's also success in some way, whether it's, doing the Spartan race and winning, or being the best in your body or the best in your mind, maybe writing a book or whatever it is somebody might be doing. It's really coming to that place of centeredness for it.
Let's take a 2-minute break, and then we'll come back and teach everybody how to become a billionaire.
Great, love it.
I hope you're not sitting still while you listen. If you are, you better get a burpee break in.
All right, we want to make 4 million billionaires. We've got 4 million Spartans out there.
Love it.
What do you suggest? Let's give them step by step how to just become better.
Well, number one, it's to get to what do you really want. Most people know they want something, but they don't know exactly what it is. For me, getting really focused on knowing exactly what you want. The number one thing to attract anything to you is to really get quiet. And it's about really getting quiet and say, what do I really want? And honing it down to the exact vision or structure. You could write it down, you could visualize it, whatever it might be. But then it's about doing the meditative process, and that's about getting quiet. Our lives are so much about technology and distractions and traffic and total stimulation all the time. But when we're in that quiet space, even as we're closing our eyes and taking a big deep breath, that changes everything. And in those moments in between, the spaces in between, that's where they say all the magic is. The singer Prince, they say the reason why he's successful is because it's the space between the notes is where all the beauty is, and that's what people like. And he's able to create those spaces in between. So if we create that pause, that space, we can focus on what we really want, whether it's running the Spartan race, whether it's becoming a billionaire, whatever it might be.
Becoming an actor, whatever it is.
Becoming an actor. Yeah. It doesn't matter where you are, what you want to do. This works every time. But it's about getting quiet and visualizing, closing your eyes, and seeing as if it's already happened. Playing it out like a movie in your mind of what you want. And taking out any old preconceived programming or belief that you can't have it, it's too big, it's unattainable, it's risky. You got to release all those things.
Throw that away.
Same idea.
Yep.
And then focus on what that is. Now, this is a wonderful manifestation tool. This is ancient, but it's also futuristic as well. If you can focus on playing out that movie in your mind, but then you really feel the feelings of what you want to have. So, for instance,
at the finish line.
At the finish line.
Right.
As I've run the race, or I received that check in the mail, or this complete process is completed. But it's about feeling the feelings. A lot of people in our world right now are detaching from the feelings of the outcome. So for instance, if you ran the race and you won, you're going to feel like, I feel overjoyed, I feel accomplished, I feel relieved, I feel ecstatic, I feel
visualize
all
that
those
finish
words.
line. Yep.
But it's feeling in yourself, in the now, what those feelings are. And then you hold them in your heart. And you say, okay, I feel what that feels like. And then like a magnet, you start attracting all the people, the situations, the abilities, the right trainer to show up, the right client to show up. And then it starts fulfilling that, literally like a magnet. And this is a wonderful...
And your clients and people you touch are telling you, man, when I do it, it works.
It happens every time. But the problem in it is we have old programming and belief from society, from parents, from negative situations that may have created a block in us or limiting belief that slows down the process. So a big part of my work is how do we get rid of that? How do we define what it is so we can start letting it go? And then we shoot right up.
And is that the hardest part, or is the hardest part figuring out where people want to go? Not everybody really knows where they want to go.
Most people in the world have no idea. They just know they want to be happy in some way, but they don't have a defined vision, or they don't think they have a passion. Right. Some people say, well, what's your passion? If you do your passion, it will be successful. Well, I think it's more than that. I think that's important, but it's really about dissecting and figuring out what's slowing you down.
What do you suggest for the person that doesn't know where they want to go?
What I said earlier, it's about getting quiet. It's about taking that space, especially nature, I believe is the easiest way. Go to a place where it's completely quiet, where you can hear the birds, you can feel the wind, you can maybe put your bare feet in the ground and get quiet and daydream and really breathe. There's a style of breathing, it's what I call peace breathing, I've named it. And most of us are trained to breathe up in the chest. That's the American way we've all been trained. But really the peace breathing or the centered breathing or intuitive breathing, or we'll call today success breathing, is breathing at the belly button. You inhale in the nose and your belly button goes out. You exhale out the mouth and your belly button goes back to the spine. That is a centering breathing. And in that space, even if you do it for 3 minutes, you don't have to meditate hours a day. You can be very beneficial. There's lots of meditators out there like Russell Simmons, the music mogul. He does it all day long, and he completely says meditation is what's made him a multi-billionaire, right? Oh. Heidi Klum, the people, Julie Roberts, all the people go on and on. That's how not only that they maintain their success, maintain their mind, body, spirit peace, but it also gives them new ideas about what they wish to create for their future, the future of the world.
I mean, it's kind of contrary to what you're saying. One of the things I always say to young people that don't know where they're going, just start. Just start, right? Because even sitting out in nature,
playing with it,
and
exactly.
One thing leads you to another, then before you know it, right?
I agree with that, but I think we can bypass that. Because some people take 30 years to figure that out by playing or practicing. Some people say it's wasted time. I don't think anything's wasted time. But we can bypass all of them because our soul has everything we need. And I think it's right in our belly button area. It's the seat, your gut feeling. And if we can get quiet and listen to what our soul has to say, different from society, different from parents, different from what school says, whatever it might be, and really listen and get quiet, all the instructions come out, all the guidance come out. I would say everything of the universe is in you. You just have to get quiet and all the instructions will come out.
So you got quiet or you got busy,
right?
And you found where you want to go, but you've got a blockage.
Right.
How are you getting the block out?
Well, number one is you can do it yourself. I would say, although I'm a healer and intuitive, I believe anybody can do it for themselves. I don't believe in gurus. I don't believe in anybody finding external sources. I believe I can be a guide for people, but it's really about you doing your internal work, your own healing, your own visualizing, your own, figuring out what you really believe. Because a lot of us are programmed and trained as children with belief structures, whether it's religious or society or parents. And at some point, and hopefully it's around 18, we start creating our own belief structures about what we believe about life, and really the core of it is what we believe about love, because I believe love heals all, conquers all, solves all, protects all, and pushes everything forward. And if there's no love there, then we're just robots, and that's not what we're here. We're here to have this beautiful spiritual experience in a physical body and learn about our mind, body, spirits. Learn, the earth has changed so much. They say it took 2,000 years for information to double. Right? From the beginning, like 1, we'll say. And then it doubled again, it became 500 years, information is doubling. And since the internet came, information is doubling multi-times a second.
It's funny, as I was recently with a billionaire about 4 days ago, and he was giving me this exact story, and I'm wondering, he might be one of your clients.
You never know. You never know. But the point is with that, which is so beautiful, is there could be someone out in the middle of the desert somewhere, someone in a garage in Montana, who has an idea about something, and they can go search the internet to get the rest of the data they need to make some sort of transformation for their life or for the world. I believe all healing, physical healing, will be cured in the next 10 to 12 years. Every physical element, because if information is doubling or quadrupling every second, all these people around the world, again, whether it's a tent somewhere, are going to have an idea and can finish their idea because all that information is available. And then that's what's going to change the world. So I think
that and Spartan race.
Well, that's true too. Why not?
Right. I mean, absolutely. You can't change the world without Spartan race. Let's just be clear.
Well, it takes a little of everything, right?
That's right.
How do we get to joy, right? The number one place we get to joy. I'll tell you one thing that's really cool is everyone's trying to get to a place of love. On a scale of 1 to 10, 5, love is 5, right in the middle. But all the magic happens in joy, which is 6, the one step above. And we can always manage ourselves based on what state we're in. So we could say, scale of 1 to 10, where am I? Am I in love? Am I in joy? Am I ascended in kind of mastery, maybe higher numbers, 7, 8, 9, 10? Or am I in a place of doubt, 4, fear, 3, anger, 2, or total psycho killer bad guy, right? 1. So we can check ourselves of where we are in any moment. So let's say the Spartan race. You'd say, am I in a place of fear? Am I in a place of success? Am I in a place of doubt? Where am I? And we can see where we are, and we can check that, right? And we always want to get to as 10 as possible. That's the goal, right? And it's not easy. I think most people can't get there, but we're all working to get there. So in any moment, you can see, where am I? So how do we do that? We close our eyes, and we take a big, deep breath. We say, where am I operating on the scale of who I am? Am I in doubt? Am I in fear? Am I in pain? Am I in love? Am I in joy? Wherever I am. And then we could check ourselves. And then, like, when you go to like a what do we call it, a fair or something, like a country fair, and you see those movies and they hit the big thing and the ballot and the thing goes up. So we are going to send our energy up. And we can do that by choice. And we can do that just with focusing. And it can transform anything. This can transform you, your mind, body, and spirit. It can transform a race. It can transform an office, an idea, a script, and the world. They say it only takes 144,000 people meditating on one subject to change something, that it can create that much change. And unfortunately, we don't have enough people focusing on one subject at once. And it's that simple. So if you know within yourself, you can move yourself on that scale from 1 to 10. It transforms everything. All the magic happens in joy. That's what any billionaire, any successful person will tell you, is it's getting to that spot.
I'm usually in joy.
Great.
But the reason is because I said this, I have ADD. And so if I ever go to like 4 or 3, snap out of it and I'm back to 6.
Well, I may offer this to you.
Yeah.
Why are you claiming a dysfunction that isn't who you really are? Saying you have it.
I don't think ADD is a dysfunction. I think it's actually a gift.
But society says it's not a good thing. So I say,
society doesn't know what they're talking about. Yeah.
Pick a new time frame or a new word frame that's more successful for you. It says, I have ability to focus on short bursts.
Right. I like that.
Very different.
Yeah.
And that transfers everything, because running in you in your gut, a little thing says that is wrong. Even though you don't believe it, it's running, operating like a program, like a computer.
That makes
so
sense.
if we can make that upgrade, it
Yeah.
changes everything. And no, that's part of your gifts you came in with, whether it was painting or with having short bursts of thoughts or patience.
Lots of those.
Yeah. And that can transform everything. So do you want us to do it together?
Yeah, let's
close our eyes. We put our feet on the floor always.
Start from there.
We put our feet on the floor. We straighten our back. We align our bodies, mind, body, and spirit. If you can do this barefoot, even better, because it grounds our energy. There is the cloud. They still talk about cloud computing. I say there's no accident that that's what we describe it as. I believe that's the collective consciousness where all the information of the entire universe, past, present, and future lies. Bill Gates, they say, well, how is Bill Gates Bill Gates? Well, the scientists studied him, and what they figured out was he has more joy than everybody else. And is his life perfect? Does he have issues? Sure, everybody does. Whether his DNA is amplified in a way that he has more joy, we don't know. But because he has that, he can bring through more information. And it can come out of your gut, it can come out of your brain, or it can come out of the collective wisdom. And that's what old sages, gurus, healers from across the planet since the beginning of time were able to tune in to that collective wisdom and bring through roadmaps and guides and words and instructions for people. So that's what we're going to do today.
Let's do it. Yeah, let's do it.
So we close our eyes, we put our feet on the ground, we take a big, deep breath in the nose and blow the air out the mouth. So we'll do it again. In the nose, you fill up your belly button with air, not your chest, and you exhale out the mouth. Okay, inhale in the nose, the belly button goes out, all the air goes there. And exhale out the mouth. Good, let's take another level. Let's imagine what love feels like. The most beautiful, it could be the love your mom has for you, a love a mate has for you, or to your child, or your child's love for you. Let's imagine that most spectacular love and how that feels. And let's breathe it in. And exhale out. Let's take it one step farther. Let's breathe in the nose and feel that love, what I call love that's alive. I call it the living love, that spark that makes our heart beat, that spark that makes a baby conceive, that spark that makes us successful. Let's imagine. I see it as a sparkling white light. Let's breathe in that white light and pull it down into your belly button area, which I call the seat of your soul. And like soap, let it clear out all those old thoughts, those old programs, those doubts, those fears, those frustrations, those limiting beliefs. And like soap, let it clear it out. As you exhale, you're going to blow out all the residue you don't want. So we're going to blow out. So let's try it one again using all those tools. We're going to inhale, breathing in that sparkling white light of love. We're going to use it like soap. Collect it up all through your mind, your body, and your spirit. All that stuff we don't want anymore that's limiting us, and blow it out really hard. So that's a wonderful technique we can do at any time. We could do it before a business meeting. We could do it before a race, before playing basketball, before an interview. I did it before we came in here. It centers you, it grounds you, and it allows you to focus. It allows you to be at a centered place with your own belief structure and where you'd like to go.
Just get rid of all the garbage.
It's about getting rid of the garbage. And we can do that energetically. You could do it through the breath. You could do it with me. You could do it with anybody. You could do it for yourself. It's about claiming yourself, claiming your own wisdom, claiming your journey, owning it, moving forward, and creating your own belief structure surrounding it. And hopefully we do it in love.
I love it.
Yeah. Thank you.
You're the man.
Yeah, that was take care.
Thanks. Or the healer.
Yeah.
Video is rolling. Okay. All right, I'm tuning in. I'm feeling fear is the final frontier. That's what just came to me from the... What do you guys think about that?
Do we believe in psychics?
I think we leave the psychic to Aiden.
Yeah.
Do we believe in psychics?
I'll leave the psychic to Aiden.
Actually, that's a great topic. It's funny. I
do.
I believe as much as you do, I'll bet. I believe that everyone has psychic ability. I think that most people who charge money for it are full of poop. But I don't think he is. I do think a lot of people have intuition.
Thank you.
And clearly he is a guy who is out there doing it.
I got one for you.
Okay.
For the last 15 years, very often, I get this feeling that, oh, you know what, I haven't spoken to so-and-so, and then the phone rings, or all of a sudden the email comes in. I mean, within 40 seconds.
Yep.
And I haven't thought about this person. So there's something.
It happens all the time.
Right?
Yeah.
There's something there.
There's some kind of connectivity there.
I have a theory.
Yep.
So a lot of these adventure races that you go on that are like 10-day, totally brutal. For me, my interpretation is that that's a straight up vision quest, right? I mean, like that's a rite of passage. That's something that you go through. And often I find that people who are tuned into their intuition are people that are really nature connected, which is not just some bohemian crunchy term. It's like there are patterns and cycles in our, there are things to tune into. There's a book called the Zen Surfers of the Zavuya. Okay, so this is getting a little esoteric, but
It'll be in the glossary.
The Zavuya is the collective unconscious, and there's this idea that when you drop a rock in a pond and it has the concentric rings, that these thoughts go out. Once a thought's been thunk, if that's a word, like the Greek and Roman, like the myths, like how there was archetypal myths all over, these things that are circling around. And so I feel most often, because my mom's the same way, I'm the same way, like you have that intuition when you've been through or are connected to the outdoors, like a lot of you guys haven't. So I'm pulling it back in. Colonel Nye, what do you think?
Not pulling your face to the microphone.
You're walking to the. She keeps walking
to the
for
light.
those of you.
Concentric rings are pulling me
For
away.
those of you listening, there's a window 8 feet away, and she continues to walk towards the window as she speaks.
So, Colonel Nye, let's hear your take on psychic abilities.
I believe in it,
Yeah.
which may be surprising to you, but my mother and father both believed in it. And they used to actually own a restaurant. Like every Wednesday night, you could get a psychic reading with your meal. Yeah. And I believe in it because we had people lined up around the block to come eat that night. But we had palm readers. We had all kinds of people like that. So, but I believe kind of in the concept of genetic memory. Mm-hmm. If a fish knows how to swim upstream, or if a bird knows how to, go back to Capistrano, and all these animals know what to do instinctively. Innately, instinctively
Mm-hmm.
at birth. How is it that humans, the most perfectly formed living creatures on Earth, don't have an ability to know something intuitively? I think we do. I think we just haven't learned, all of us haven't learned how to tap into it the right way. And I think that's part of maybe what deja vu is a little bit as well.
Sure.
I kind of think that's what some of that
a minute
is.
ago?
Sharp. So I believe there's some. I don't want to call it mystical powers or any of the things, but I believe there is something that allows. Some people are far more intuitive than others, obviously. Yeah. So I think there's something that we just haven't learned to harness yet.
One other element to that, you think about the fact that I could ask you any question, and within 30 seconds you could have it for me on your phone, right? You would just punch into your phone, it would go up to magnetic fields that are up there, energy, and would pull that answer from somewhere else. 100 years ago, that's magic. Now it's just normal. But every single thing, every vibration is already out there. And so he's just saying, I'm just tuning into something, right? So it's whether it's the fact that it's internally our genetic memory, or the fact that, here's a great example. Getting away from that esoteric side where he talks about success, and he's a coach as well. He's essentially a life coach. And he went through the idea about helping people line up their vibration. And all it was picture what you want, and then feel that you've already had that. Like, go through the experience of really feeling and internalizing the success of that. And then you will be better lined up to go and achieve that. So every single day stuff happens. And two people can go through the same day, and one person go, "That was the worst day. Did you see all the bad stuff that happened to me today?" And the other goes, "What are you talking about? That was the greatest day." And they went through the exact same experience. And so it's what you're tuning into. And he just helps people tune into what they want to achieve. And by tuning into that, it just, when the movie The Secret came out, it was a bit of a trite take on the law of attraction. It made it kind of a silly term. But in fact, if you get up in the morning and say, this is going to be an awesome day, and you go look for awesome things.
Intention. And
then at the end of the day, you go to bed and reflect on all the awesome things that happened, you're going to wake up the next morning with more energy and more enthusiasm and go out and find good things. There's no magic to that. It's just simply where you put your intention. And it really resonated with me, his whole take, because it's incredibly simple. I mean, this is the oldest philosophy in the book, the idea about be positive, decide what you want, and go after it. And yet he has had tremendous success with incredibly successful people with this. So it's not crazy rocket science.
My mother pushed it every single day of our childhood. My sister and I, it was, don't say anything negative, don't think any negative thoughts. And we thought she was crazy in those early years, but you're right.
Yeah, absolutely.
It's neuroplasticity, right? It's brain patterning, right? So the more that you fire the neurons of happiness, positivity, that intention, they become stronger. Whereas if you're like negative, blah, 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 then those are the neurons. My mom always tells us an old Native American parable of there's two horses on your shoulder. One's good, one's bad. Wolves, thank you. And you say, which one wins, right? Because I guess they're in competition or something. It says whichever one you feed, right? So what are you feeding? Are you feeding the positivity? Are you feeding the negativity?
Is this a good time? I've been thinking a lot about, I don't know if it's urban myth or not, but it's on the internet. The rice in the jar that you put negative thoughts towards.
It's water.
It's water,
right? It was
right?
a Japanese guy. It was the crystalline nature.
Yeah.
Oh, no, that's for sure real.
So isn't that everything we're talking about?
That is very good. I can't believe you've seen, So if you guys don't know what he's talking about, there was a Japanese aquacologist, neologist, I made that word up, water scientist. And what he would do is he would take droplets and under microscope say like, I love you, you're amazing. And then they would have these mandala-shaped, crystalline, beautiful structures. And to the same water, he'd say, I hate you, you're awful, you're ugly. And they'd be these fractile, maybe you can speak a little more.
I love your vocabulary. I honestly, I think I have one of the better vocabularies men I know. I feel like a caveman beside you. It's fantastic.
I'm so honored.
But listen, I think a little bit here that skepticism, negativity, kind of being the grumpy old man there's getting a little bit of a bad rap. I think there's plenty of guys like me out there that have done okay in the world. I don't know that everybody has to be smiling and positive all the time. Sure. I think putting some I don't know
perspective.
Yeah, but I mean, reality, and looking at things with a skeptical eye. Maybe that's not negative, but it's certainly not positive.
It's realistic.
It can be helpful.
I agree very much with you. It's funny, this will come as a surprise because everyone thinks of me as a super positive guy. But I think feigned positivity, fake positivity is terrible. You can go through life pretending everything's great and not dealing with anything. But I think that the difference is deal with it, be skeptical, be realistic. But then when you decide the outcome that you want, then you have to pour the positivity onto that. Because if you think, it's probably not going to work anyway and life sucks and that's how it's going to show up. But I do agree with you that you can't just pretend bad things away. But once you decide how you're going to approach it and you go through the process of setting up a plan, then that's when you pour the positivity onto that plan.
Yeah, I'd also say anger can be a great tool.
Excellent.
Temper and anger, again, people look at them as negatives. I think used in the right measures can be very powerful.
But again, though, you know what I love about that? Used. You take that and you make it into a tool and you use it, right?
Right.
Because then you're harnessing it. It's like electricity. If you harness it, it's great. If you don't, it just fries you to death.
With that said,
absolutely. With that said, what, Joe?
Tune in for Spartan Up Podcast and learn more great things.
I'd also like to put another plug in for Sephra's glossary.
Innate electrifying.
Where you're going to learn what all these polysyllabic words mean.
There you see. Right back at you, Johnny. To find show notes, video, and audio from this episode, please visit SpartanUpPodcast.com/083.
Thank you for listening to another epic story of success. Get more at SpartanUpPodcast.com or follow us on Twitter at SpartanUpPod. The Spartan Up Podcast is brought to you by Spartan.
To find a race near you, visit Spartan.com.